All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Ryan King Ray Garcia, and Gervonta Tank Davis, and what Shawn Porter had to say about the fight and the fight happening in the lead up to this fight that is taking place tonight with Javier Fortuna. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we're going to be in the 135 pound, 140 pound division. Not quite sure what to call it because the fight is taking place tonight at 140 between Ryan Garcia and Javier Fortuna. And obviously, a lot of the conversation going on around that fight is what happens afterwards. And will Ryan Garcia get the fight that he wants with Gervonta Tank Davis? Now, before I get into that subject matter, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are a longtime subscriber and supporter to the channel, thank you so much for your support. It really, really means a lot. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos, which we do on a daily basis in both the video format and the live stream format. Really have great discussions on the live stream, so make sure you guys check that out. All right, so let's get into this. We got a good fight coming up this evening. Well, at least some people think it's a good fight. I'm in a minority of this and think that it's going to be a fight where Ryan Garcia is going to win in the way that he usually wins, which is by knockout against Javier Fortuna. If you're not familiar with Javier Fortuna, he is I believe he's a former 130 pound champion, challenged for the 135 pound championship against Robert Easter Jr., put a real good fight up with Robert Easter Jr. Recently coming off of a loss to last big fight that he was in was a unanimous decision loss to Jojo Diaz. Before that, I think he lost at 140 against, what's my guy's name, man, from Chicago? Forget his name, man. Good fighter at 140 pounds. Anyway, he lost to him as well, but is a very, very tough fighter, one of the dirtiest fighters in all of boxing, just awkward and just belligerent in the ring. Kind of fighter that you can't help but like, right? So he's going to be fighting Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is pretty much, one of the biggest names in that division, in the 135 pound, 140 pound division. Signed to Golden Boy Promotions with fighting on DAZN. Many people think that this fight is going to be a tough fight for Ryan Garcia against Javier Fortuna. I just don't see it that way. Not because I don't have respect for Javier Fortuna or what Javier Fortuna brings to the table. I do. It's just that I have a lot of respect for what Golden Boy's matchmakers do. And Golden Boy has very good matchmakers. Top Rank have very good matchmakers. And so when I see one of their big money guys or young stars get into the ring against somebody, I tend to think they know what they're doing by putting them in there with them. I don't think they're going to take too many chances with Javier Fortuna, with Ryan Garcia at this stage, because, he is a guy that is, despite what a lot of people say about him, he is a draw. He sold out in a stadium in San Antonio, Texas. I believe this fight is going to be in LA, so we'll see what the ticket sales do there. But, he's a guy that has a big following, right? A lot of, avid young I think that they're probably casual boxing fans, but a lot of young avid fans interested in seeing him fight. So they're not going to throw him out on the fire like people tend to do that get stuck with the PBC and get put up in there with God knows, man, they'll just put it up there with anybody, right? Kind of like with what one of my favorite young fighters, Gary Antoine Russell, is going through with having to fight Victor Postal and then going to Ramsey's Bartholomew like back to back, right? Like this dude is definitely getting put in there like, hey man, you're going to sink or swim. Now I believe that he can swim, but he's getting tested for sure. But as far as Ryan Garcia in this fight with Javier Fortuna, I'm just going to trust the matchmakers on this and be like, nah, the size, probably what they see is the size of Ryan Garcia, because Ryan Garcia is probably a guy that's going to end his career at 147 pounds. And Javier Fortuna is definitely blown up from 130 pounds. I think Javier Fortuna is a small lightweight, let alone fighting at 140 pounds. I just don't think he has the size, and he doesn't have the punching power to keep Ryan Garcia off of him. More than likely, Ryan Garcia is going to catch him with something real ugly. If it's not a body shot, it'll be a headshot. But whatever the case is, one thing you can say about Ryan Garcia, Ryan Garcia has only real flaw that I see from Ryan Garcia is he fights with his chin up. But one thing that he talks about and other people talk about that is a fact, Ryan Garcia can crack, along with Teofimo Lopez and Gervonta Davis at that weight class. That guy's probably the biggest puncher in that weight class besides Teofimo Lopez and Gervonta Davis. And honestly, with one clean shot, he may hit harder than Teofimo Lopez. He's that big a puncher. But when that fight gets done, the question is then what's going to happen afterwards? Is he going to fight Gervonta Tank Davis? And what's going to happen when he fights Gervonta Davis? Shawn Porter gave his 2 cents in it and was like, look, they're not going to make that fight. Like, it's a big fight, but more than likely it's not going to get made. And it's not going to get made for 2 reasons. One is, like I said, Golden Boy is not about to throw away Ryan Garcia. Now, Oscar De La Hoya is doing a lot of talking about making the fight. He's talking about how they can make the fight and what they got to do in order to get the fight done. And the simple fact that the way that he's asking for the fight, saying how hard it is to make the fight, because of Al Heyman and how it would be easier to deal with Floyd Mayweather than Al Heyman, he's isolating himself from Al Heyman. And then when he talks about having to make the fight both on DAZN and DAZN has to be involved in the fight because Golden Boy has a deal with DAZN. Showtime's not going to go for that. Steven Espinosa's not going to go for that. Even though Ryan Garcia is a big name and is definitely a big draw, and it probably is the biggest fight in that lightweight division and one of the biggest fights in attractions in boxing if it gets made. That doesn't mean that Gervonta Davis is going to go over to DAZN or they're going to try to find some way to split it between the two. Steven Espinosa, for his part, said, nah, they're not going to do it, and brought up what DAZN was doing before and saying how, look, DAZN would go try to go directly to all the fighters that were fighting on Showtime, like Deontay Wilder, like the Charlos and who was it? Charlo, Thurman, and tried to make offers for them to go fight over there. And Steven Espinosa said, look, now the shoe is on the other foot. So if Ryan Garcia doesn't have an exclusive deal with Golden Boy, he doesn't have an exclusive deal with DAZN, and only Golden Boy has a deal with them, then hey man, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. We don't have to work them. Ryan Garcia can come over here and fight and have that fight on Showtime. Otherwise, more than likely, the fight's not going to happen. But I think the biggest reason is what Shawn Porter was talking about, which was, look, man, Ryan Garcia can't win that fight. Ryan Garcia, until he fights and he does not have his chin stuck straight up in the air, Ryan Garcia is going to get caught by something with Gervonta, and Gervonta is going to make it an ugly and short night. The best that Ryan Garcia could probably hope for out of that fight is to look good in defeat. Right, go the distance or something like that. Like maybe like what happened with Rolly, where people are like, oh, Rolly could box better than I thought he could until he got knocked out, right? But anyway, it is what it is. We'll see what happens, man. Can't wait to see the fight tonight. Y'all let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.